Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I hope you're having an amazing week. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I think will help you make some more progress in your life and in your business. And it's a topic that I've had in the past, and I've had many people kind of bring it up to me, even over the last couple of weeks. So I thought I'd share it with you again. Let me start out by just asking you a question. Are you seeing the progress in your life and your business that you really want to see right now? I want you to think about that. Are you seeing the progress in your life and in your business that you truly want to see? Are you moving forward in the way that you expected? Are you growing at the pace that you envisioned for yourself? Are you building a life, a business, the results that you really want to create? Because the reality is a lot of people reach a point where they feel stuck and they feel like they're working hard, they're putting in all this effort, but somehow the results just aren't showing up. And maybe you can relate. When that happens, most people start looking at everything outside themselves. They blame the market, they blame circumstances, the economy, their situation. They're even looking at ways they can fix the people around them. But the truth is, real progress almost always comes not when you're looking at everything around you, but when you stop looking out and you start looking inside. People blame the market and all these things, but the truth is, real progress starts with internal evaluation. So if you're not seeing the progress you want in life, the real question is not, why is this happening to me? The better question is, what needs to change in me? And over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with some really amazing mentors, entrepreneurs, authors, celebrities, athletes. And one of my mentors shared a simple framework with me that's really helped me many times throughout my life when I feel stuck and when I feel like I need to evaluate where I am. And it's called the Pearl Constellation. Now, the reason he called it a constellation is because historically, sailors, navigators, people that navigated the world, they used constellations, the stars, to guide them when they were traveling across the ocean. And when they couldn't see land, they would look to the stars to determine their direction. And in the same way, this framework is going to help guide you when you're trying to determine whether you're headed in the right direction in your life and in your business. So it's Pearl. It's an acronym, and it stands for, when I say acronym, if you don't know what that means, the letters PEARL, Pearl, are an acronym, and they stand for 5 key areas of your life that determine your progress: your philosophy, your emotions, your activity, your results, and your lifestyle. And when you evaluate these 5 areas, you can often identify exactly what needs to change in order for you to move forward. So let's kind of walk through these areas together this morning and see if it gives you a little bit of insight. The first letter in the Pearl constellation is P. It stands for philosophy. Your philosophy is simply how you think. It's your mindset. It's the beliefs you hold about yourself, your life, and your circumstances. Now, one of the most important truths that you can learn in life is that your thoughts shape your outcomes. The way you think influences the way you act, the decisions you make, and the opportunities that you see. There's a saying that I love, and it goes like this: it's not the direction of the wind that determines where the ship goes, it's the set of the sails. In other words, life will always bring challenges. It's going to bring you obstacles and unexpected situations, but what really determines your direction is how you think about those situations. Sometimes the biggest barrier we face is not the problem itself, it's our perception of the problem. And there are the beliefs that we hold about what we can or cannot do. So if you're not seeing the progress you want in your life, it's worth asking yourself a very important question. What do I currently believe about myself that might not actually be true? Are there limiting beliefs that you're quietly holding back? Do you believe that success is harder for you than it is for other people? Do you believe that you're not capable of reaching the level you want? Because often the first step towards progress is just changing the philosophy that you operate from. Now, the second letter of Pearl is E, and it stands for emotion. Emotion is how you feel. It's your attitude, your energy, your emotional state you bring into your day. And emotions play a powerful role in your decision making. They affect your productivity, your overall performance. And when you're operating from frustration, stress, and fear, your decisions tend to reflect those emotions. Look, I've been there. I'm there sometimes right now, and you've been there. But when you're operating from confidence, optimism, and focus, you begin to see possibilities that might not be normally there, that are hidden from you. I remember reading something Warren Buffett once said when, someone asked him how he stays calm during really crazy markets. And his answer was simple. He said, he removes emotion from the decision-making process. Now, that doesn't mean we eliminate emotion from our life. Obviously, we're going to feel things, but it does mean we learn to manage it. And your attitude and your emotional discipline can determine how you respond to situations that life is going to throw your way. So ask yourself this question: what emotions am I currently experiencing in my life? And are those emotions helping me move forward, or are they holding me back? What are those emotions? Sometimes progress simply means choosing a different emotional state. Tony Robbins talks about this. It's your state that determines every other level of breakthrough. Now, the letter in the word pearl is A, and it stands for activity. Now, this is how you work. It's about the actions that you take every day. And many people believe that activity automatically leads to results. But the truth is, being busy does not always mean productive. You know what I'm talking about. You can work long days, stay busy all day, and still not be working on the things that actually move your business forward. And early in my career, I had a mentor tell me, if you're not getting the results you want, you just need to work harder. Then I had another mentor who told me something totally different. He says, why would you try to outwork everyone when you can out everyone? And both ideas really have some truth, right? Hard work does matter. Grind does matter. But the real key is making sure that your activity is focused on the right things. And success doesn't come from simply doing more. It comes from doing more of what matters most. So I want you to ask yourself this question: are my daily activities aligned with the actual results I want to create? Because if they're not, then your solution may not be more effort. The solution actually might be a better focus. So that's a real key one on your actions. Now, the fourth letter in Pearl is the letter R, and it stands for results. And this is all about measurement. Okay. One of the common traits you'll find amongst high performers is that they track their progress. If you're operating at an elite level, those people measure their results. They keep score. Successful people know where they're at, they know where they're going, and they monitor their progress along the way. What you measure improves. If you're going throughout life and you're not measuring, that's your problem. When you measure activity, your income, your progress, your growth, it creates clarity. It eliminates the guesswork. You start to see patterns that help you make better decisions and know what you need to change. But there's also another important element that's worth, really remembering. Life is not just about achieving. It's about becoming. It's important to measure what you actually accomplish. Measure the gain, not just the gap in what you've been accomplishing. But it's very important to evaluate who you're becoming in the process. Are you growing? Are you developing discipline? Are you becoming the type of person capable of achieving your vision? So this is the question I want you to ask yourself in this area. What results am I currently getting? And what do those results tell me about what I need to change? Those are your results. And here's the last letter. The last letter in Pearl, in the Pearl constellation, is the letter L, and it stands for lifestyle. Now, this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners suffer at. Lifestyle is how you live your life along the way. See, many people spend their entire lives working towards a future that they believe will eventually bring happiness, and they sacrifice today in hopes that tomorrow will be better. But happiness doesn't have to wait until some distant moment in the future. Happiness is a choice. It's a decision that you make in the present moment. Now, there's a concept I love to share, and it's the difference between achieving happiness and happily achieving. Think about that. When you're happily achieving, you're building success while also appreciating the life you're living today. One of the biggest mistakes people make, and I've made it many times in my life, it's allowing your vision of the future to rob the joy of the present. Let me say that again. Are you allowing your vision of the future to rob you of the joy of the present? Think about that for a minute. That's the ultimate question I want you to ask. Am I living a life in a way that allows me to experience happiness today while I build my future? Happily achieving, blissful dissatisfaction. When you bring those 5 areas that I just talked about with you together, your philosophy, your emotions, your activities, your results, and your lifestyle, you are going to create what my mentor called the Pearl Constellation in your life. And just like a constellation helps a ship across the ocean, this framework is going to help guide you when you feel stuck, when you're uncertain about your future. And if you ever feel stuck, just take a minute and evaluate these 5 areas. Ask yourself, how am I thinking? How am I feeling? What am I doing? What results am I producing? And how am I living my life? Sometimes a small shift in just one of those areas can completely change the direction of your life. And remember this, I've heard Les Brown tell me many times because I've had him speak for me on stages and things, and most of you know who Les Brown is. He's a total legend. He says, "You have greatness inside of you. You absolutely have the ability to create the life you want, but progress requires your awareness, thought reflection, and willingness to adjust and pivot when necessary." So my challenge for you today is this: write down the word pearl somewhere so you can see it on your computer, in your journal, on your desk, and once a week, just take a minute and evaluate those 5 areas. Because when you stay conscious of how you think, how you feel, how you work, the results you're getting, and how you're living, you'll begin to navigate your life with greater clarity and purpose. And when you do that, progress is not just possible, it is inevitable. I promise you. My name is George Wright III. This has been the Daily Mastermind, and I hope you have an amazing day. I'll talk with you soon.